We're live. We're just getting all this good stuff together for y'all. I'm really excited to have my cousin, the sports hustler, Mr. Kendrick Henderson. He's gonna be joining us. So as y'all are coming on, let me turn all this down. As y'all are coming on, make sure y'all holler at your boy. Make sure you say what's up to us up. There's Mr. Kendrick. He's live. Look at him with that pretty face, smiling, saying what's up to everybody.
What's up?
Here I am, everybody. What's happening with you? Good to see you. Glad to have everybody on today. We're going to get going. We're going to talk some sports here in just a minute. Make sure we're going to give you all a minute to jump on and let us know. Let us know that you're out there. It's going to be a fantastic time. This man has, I got to tell y'all, man, this man has made an extreme sacrifice for a brother tonight. So I'm really happy to have Kendrick on with us tonight. Want to welcome everybody in to the Temple Talk. We're going to get busy and get started tonight. I'm your host, RTM. Really happy to have everybody with us tonight. Let me go ahead and apologize in advance for my audio. I don't know what happened to my microphone, but it's all good. I think y'all can hear me. And as long as y'all can hear me, I think it's all gravy in the Navy. And so listen, happy to have everybody. Make sure y'all share it, send it out. It's our podcast, getting this thing up and running. If y'all only knew everything we had to do in the background to get this thing popping for y'all tonight, then y'all would really have a great appreciation for what's going down. So nonetheless, let me find all my little inputs, get everybody ready to go, and I'm gonna bring to the stage the one and only Kendrick. I like to call him the sports hustler. This dude is amazing. I've been checking him out for a long time. Y'all check him out. Kendrick, what's up, man?
What's going on, fam? Good Monday
What's happening,
evening to
man?
you.
Good Monday
Yes.
evening to you, man.
Yes,
Happy to
sir.
have
Yes,
you on
sir.
with us tonight.
Yeah.
And it's a whole lot to talk about in sports
Yes.
tonight. A whole lot going down. Got to ask you about your Green Bay Packers and see if you got love for that Jordan Love. And
Uh-huh.
man, I'm looking forward to having a great conversation with you over the next few moments, man. And really happy to
Yes,
have
sir.
both of us able to be here tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and happy to have us in the temple, man. So let's get to it, bud. A lot of
Let's
temple
do
talk
it.
tonight. First of all, Kendrick, tell us a little bit, man, about your background. And y'all, this is really my cousin. This is not one of them fake cousin names. You know how people be
Right.
saying that's my cousin. Ain't your
Right.
cousin. No, this dude is really my cousin. His mom and my mom were first cousins. And so
That is correct.
by all means, when I say this is my dude, I'm really excited. So, Kendrick, tell us a little bit about you, man, a little bit about your background, your television background, sports background, what your show is, and we're gonna go over that too before we get off tonight, because I want to make sure everybody checks out your sports hustle show.
I appreciate that, family. Well, again, I'm Kendrick Henderson. I am the of two boys, but my mother, the late Carolyn Louise Henderson. And I've always been a sports enthusiast. So my background is I actually fell into television, believe it or not. Back in 1994, I started out running a camera for the morning newscast, as well as the weekend cast at KETK NBC 56 in Tyler, Texas. It was KETK then. And then
Right.
I just kind of worked my way up. I had no experience, no background in television. I learned the ropes. I became a news videographer, what most people call cameramen, but we are videographers. I started that full time in 1994. We'll work my way up. In 1997, I would switch and go to KLTV in Tyler, where I would continue to be a videographer, editor, and I would become the chief videographer there around 2013. And again, I've been doing this over roughly 20 something, well, almost 30 years now.
Boy,
I've
you
covered
old.
Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell my age, but you can see the grade, so you can probably guess how old I am. I get close
Right
to it
on.
anyway.
Right on.
But I love for sports, and I shot a lot of sports. I've covered quite a few Dallas Cowboy training camps when they began in Wichita Falls. I started there in '97, covering them there. Then I moved over to Oxnard and in San Antonio. Covered East Texas high school football is big. If y'all don't know, I'm in East Tyler, Longview, Jacksonville
What's
area.
up? What's
East
up?
Texas football.
We,
This
and
is
we, we,
Beast
we got to
Texas,
talk
as
about
they
that
call
Lowell
it.
game. You saw
Yeah,
that
we're
game the
going.
other night?
I saw the score. I talked about it with
All
Michael
right, we're going
Coleman, by the way. We'll talk about that. So
we'll talk
again,
about it.
my background is truly sports. I did a lot of background stuff. I was behind the scenes, but then I started doing some on-camera stuff. Roughly around 2017, I was doing stuff for the Red Zone for KOTV. I was covering the game of the week for high school. So
Right.
that's a little bit about me.
Well,
Yeah.
man, listen, I'm really excited to have you on with me tonight, man. And I don't take it for granted, man. I listen. Everybody talks about their family members, and everybody talks about their family. I always like to shine and show off mine as well. And we have, needless to say, people just don't even know just how diverse our family is, from
Right.
from
Right.
theater to doctors and lawyers
Mm,
and preachers and teachers and sports people and analysts,
right.
analysts and commentators and
Right.
everything. But man, I couldn't think of anybody else that I wanted to join me tonight to talk about this sports. First of
Yes,
all,
sir.
man, let me just say this, man. Shout out to the Longview Lobos, man. I
Yes, shot it.
can't believe we lost that
Right.
game, man. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw it,
man.
man, but
I read about it. Yeah, it was a field goal, right? They lost on the field goal again. They lost
yeah,
to this team twice. The beginning of the season they lost to Lancaster, and then the end of the season they lost to Lancaster. So their two
absolutely.
losses this year was to Lancaster. Yeah, and Longview. If people don't know about the Longview Lobos, that team, that high school team, John King has put together a dynasty over there.
Yeah, man.
Just to put it lightly, he has had some great talent come through there, and it's hard for me to say that because I'm a John Tyler graduate, by the
John
way,
Tyler,
Tyler High. But I give props
flush
to
that
the
John.
Longview
That's
Lobos. But yeah, man, I was definitely expecting Longview to make it at least to the state game. They had a heck of a season, and Coach King gonna probably have those guys ready to go again next season.
Man, speaking of Coach King, man, let me ask you your thoughts. Of course, like you said, a dynasty's been built, and Longview is known actually across the country. I mean, as far as the Lobo
Mm-hmm.
football and everything, especially with Trent
Right.
playing with the 49ers. We had Jermichael Hasty. We had
Mm-hmm.
was it Travion Howard and some other guys.
Bobby
Bobby
Taylor to go
Taylor.
back. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
so many
We
guys.
we've had so many guys,
Mm.
but I've been kind of following social media, man. I've been following, seeing what everybody's been saying. And John King, man, he might be on the hot seat.
Oh, why?
Yeah, man.
Why?
Just because of the coaching, man. I mean, they were winning that game. They were up
Right.
by 10 late in the
Mm-hmm.
second half. And man, it's almost like he just took his foot off the gas. Of course, his son Haynes plays for Georgia Tech. And so, he transferred to Georgia Tech. Oh, I don't know what happened. Something happened, Kendrick.
Oh, I'm back.
Oh,
It's
there you go.
probably. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was just saying, did you know he transferred to Georgia Tech?
Yes, I did. I
Yeah.
did.
So I
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of following the thread, man. I was watching the game the other night, man, sitting out back, having my cigar. Having my cigar. Sitting out back, having my
Nothing wrong
cigar.
with
And,
that. Yeah.
yeah, sit back. And man, and the only thing that got me about that game, the Lancaster fans were talking mad noise. They were talking
Man, you
about
know how these
go back
fans
to
are,
East
Tim.
Texas. You ain't ready for the Metroplex. But the criticism that King is getting is that, man, he's not finishing. And of
Mm,
course,
mm,
we won the state championship when Haynes
right.
was the quarterback. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of a conspiracy theorist, and I'm like, I don't
Okay.
know if he wants to win another state championship after his son with him coaching because the talent we had this year, man, it was
Mm-hmm.
some ballers out there. But I want to talk a little bit about East Texas football, and then we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
get over into the pro sports, and then we're gonna get over
Okay.
into some of the basketball and football and everything.
Okay.
But talk a little bit about that East Texas football.
Man, listen, I tell people everywhere I go, obviously Texas, when you talk about high school football in all the states, this Florida, California, those really are the states. But when you talk about some real true talent, you're gonna find them all here in the state of Texas, and more specifically East Texas. Again, I started covering high school football in East Texas in 1994, 95. I covered John Tyler's 94 state title game when they went down to Houston and they played in the Astrodome. And I can honestly say that this area produces probably more college and pro football for players than other place in the country. I could be wrong. I'm not saying I got stats on that, but there has been a lot of talent that comes out of East Texas, Beast
Right.
Texas, and you're not gonna find any better football. And I'm talking not even at the level. I'm talking about even the 2A, 3A classification.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually probably in East Texas the 3A classification is probably our strongest classification when you talk about talent, about the Carthages. Well, I think 4A now,
Right.
but the Carthages and the Kilgores, the Chapel Hills, the Gilmers, all those teams. So I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
so much talent here. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, uh, East Texas has been producing major ball players, man.
Mm-hmm.
For decades, for years, and it's normally whenever we get to those deep into the playoff type games, man, you don't know if politics are playing a part of it or what's happening with it. But at the same time, these guys, the ones that do go on, they go on and do very well.
Right.
And so,
Exactly.
of course, both of us, man, East Texas boys, we're proud to be from East Texas, proud to be representing East
Right.
Texas. And yeah, I mean, just go back and check out what's being said about John King
Right.
and the Lobo head coach and that coaching from the last game. But
Let,
we're gonna let it
let,
go
let me
because
say this.
Lancaster be sitting
Yeah.
with us when Alito beat him.
Right. Okay, let me say this though, Tim. Let me say this, fam. The one thing I learned about social media,
What's up?
I think you have to be careful when you get on these fan forums and these fans get on here and going off because
Mhm.
I think there's just a lot of times, we're sitting on the sideline sometimes and we think that we know what's
Yeah,
best or what play to call,
that's
but
a
we
good
not the
point.
coach. We're
Yeah,
not the coach. We're the
yeah,
spectator, and it's okay
right.
for express your opinion. But
Yeah,
at the end of the day, you really don't. A lot of us don't know the X's and O's. We do, you and I do,
yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
because
right,
I think we follow football, but a lot of the
right.
fan forums, I pay them no mind. They just sounding off. That's kind of
Yeah,
how I look at it.
yeah, that's true,
You
man.
know,
So, man, listen, before I get to football, man, let me ask you, did you hear what Draymond Green said?
man, I'm tired of Draymond Green, fam. I'm sick of him.
Talk about it, man.
Man, okay. Draymond Green finally came out and said, after his 5 game suspension, if y'all
Mm,
don't know, he took out Rudy Gobert with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He basically
right,
said that he's not apologizing for what he did. He would always stand up and take up for his teammates, no matter what. But he ain't got a problem with punching his teammates either. He didn't mention that he punched his former teammate. I want to ask him that. What about your teammate, your former teammate that you punched in the face of practice? What about
right.
that? So Draymond Green is. I think he's. I've always thought he was overrated, but there's a place for him on the team. I would say this: you
Hmm.
need a guy like Draymond Green when you got a team that may not have a little bit of toughness in it.
Right.
We've seen this down through the years. We've seen enforcers. Oh, it's starting with the Charles Oakleys from back in the
Oh,
Gap,
yes.
the
Ooh,
Dennis Rodman,
them New
the
York
Dennis
Knicks, man.
Rodmans back in the Gap, man, the Knicks. We've had Xavier McDaniels with the Seattle SuperSonics. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm telling my age again.
yeah, you
So,
wait.
uh,
You might as well go back to Shawn Kemp.
right, right,
You
right.
in
So
there.
Draymond Green, I don't have. I think he's an average basketball player. I think if you take him off of that Golden State team, he would just be the 8th man on an NBA roster,
Wow.
in my opinion.
Wow. That's saying a lot, man. Well, yeah, when
Hey,
I saw it, I saw it, I was checking it out. I was like, man, what is Draymond talking about? I only care about the people I
right.
care about. But you know what? What was funny, when he put that boy in the chokehold, nobody went after Draymond. Because if I was Rudy
I
Gobert, I'd go
know.
back in that locker room. I'd be like, hey,
I would have had a proper teammates. I'm with you on that, fam.
yeah,
Nobody from the Timberwolves went after him. I'm like, what's going? Nobody talked about that either. It's funny
right.
that you mentioned that. In the national media talked about, well, dang, none of Rudy Gobert teammates even asked up for him.
Nobody
That was
talks about it,
interesting.
man. Because I
Yeah.
was like,
All
that
right.
was one of the things that stood out to me because Draymond, of course, he's going after Rudy, and
Mm-hmm.
of course, Rudy wasn't even the guy that was really necessarily the perpetrator there.
Right.
But
Wasn't it? It was Jaden McDaniels. Jaden
right,
McDaniels was the one that started Klay Thompson, and then he
right,
went off to
man.
Rudy. So that's crazy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was nuts, man. So man, this NFL boy, how about
Uh
Jalen Hurts? Another Texas
huh.
boy, East
Yes.
Texas, deep East Texas,
Yeah.
Channel View,
Deep East Tech.
Houston.
Uh huh. Yeah.
What'd you think
Uh
about that
huh.
last night, man?
Hey man, listen, man. I'm not the biggest. I'm a football fan and biggest Eagles fan, but I
I
like
know,
Jalen Hurts.
I
I, I
know.
think I think I think even going back to him at Alabama. I thought
Hmm.
I thought Nick Saban did him an injustice by pulling him and putting
Yeah,
Tua in because I thought Jalen Hurts was the better quarterback even then. Tua is showing that he can do some things in the league, but I still think Jalen Hall is a better quarterback. Um, but Hurts is right. Hey, and he does what he needs to do to get his team to win. He hasn't been
yeah.
flash. Really look at his numbers thus far. It ain't really just knock your socks off, but had them sitting at 10-1 with the best record in the NFC, and they win these nail. The only thing about it, eventually these nail are gonna catch up with them. In
I
my
was just
opinion,
about to
I think
say,
they,
yeah, it's
yeah.
gonna. Well, look who you know who their next two opponents are.
The way they got the Cowboys on Sunday, December, I
They
don't what the
they got
Niners
us
after
Sunday.
that. Oh, they got y'all. Oh, I think that win streak ends Sunday. Cause I'll tell you,
Boy,
fam. I tell you, I've been saying this. I think the Niners are the best team in the NFC. I said that from the very
man,
beginning.
man, I'm
Even
telling you.
when y'all went on y'all 3-game game losing streak, even
Yeah,
then I said that, yeah. I think the Niners are still the best team in the NFC.
yeah, I was kind
Yeah,
of saying the same thing. When we slide and everybody's like, oh, what about the 49ers? I'm like, trust me,
yeah,
we're going to be all right. But I'm like you,
yeah.
man. As far as the Eagles playing like that, when they start playing like these real elite teams,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna cost them because you can't
Mm-hmm.
play like that especially when you're playing against the 49ers who play bully ball. We play bully ball,
Right, right,
and so
right.
when they put their foot on your head, man, it's gonna be a wrap. So the next 2 weeks gonna
Right.
really tell us about what the Eagles
Yeah,
really about.
I agree with that. As much as it pains me to say this, fam, how I feel about your Niners, because y'all been a thorn in my Packers, what, for the last, 4 or 5 years now. So it pains me to even give y'all, because y'all have made us look bad for a minute. But
Man,
like I said, I would say this: you guys are you getting your injured players back. You got Debo back. I think he has gotten through that funk that he was in. That those
hmm
3-game losing streaks. I think he's back where he wants to be. The offensive line, I think Trent Williams is healthier now.
hmm
Defensively, I think you've gotten healthier now. And again, I just think the Niners, man, all cylinders are clicking right now. So that's going to be a tough one for the Eagles. I think that's going to be a preview of the NFC Championship game
yeah,
this Sunday.
yeah,
Niners Eagles. I think that's a preview.
yeah, I think so too, man. Now I can't, we can't talk sports without talking about these Dallas Cowboys.
Got
Uh,
to. It got to. You
I
got
mean,
to,
I
man.
I don't know how that team gets talked about. It doesn't matter if they win or losing. We always talk about the Cowboys. Man, what
Hey,
are they
you
real or
have
not?
to. Well, here's the thing about the Cowboys that you have, because there's no in between with the Cowboys. You either love them or you hate them. There's
Right.
no middle ground. And the thing about them, man, they the most visible franchise outside of. When you think about visible franchises that people connect with across the world in the United States, there's only really three that comes to mind when it comes to NFL. In my mind, the Cowboys, it's the San Francisco 49ers, and it's the Green Bay Packers. I think those are the three. I take that. I would throw the Pittsburgh Steelers in there as well. I think those four teams, they have a fan base across the world. Now, as far as the Cowboys, it's just because of people hate to see people love to see them lose. I think people just love to see the Cowboys not win. Me, I'm not a Cowboy hater. I'm annoyed by Cowboys fans.
I was just about to say that.
I don't dislike the Cowboys. I dislike their fans.
I know. I mean, I'm the team. I like Dak. I mean, I like CD Lamb. I was following him back when he was in college. I like Micah.
Right.
And this cat, Deron Bland, is balling out.
Or what? Is he balling or what, Kinfolk? He's balling.
Man, this dude got 6 touchdowns. Pick sixes.
He got five
pick sixes. Yeah. And he has more touchdowns than some receivers and tight ends.
He does. You're right. Right. Yeah, Fifth-round draft choice. 167th pick. Out of Sacramento State. Yes, he's a 5th-round pick. 167 player chosen out of Sacramento State / he graduated from Fresno State because he transferred his senior year because of COVID. So he transferred from Sacramento State to Fresno State. Yeah.
I'm sure he's a pleasant surprise for them. I just can't stand them fans, man.
Yeah, you and I we the same page, fam. And the Cowboys, they gonna find a way to do something to screw this thing up. I think they're good. I think they're a good team. They're the 3rd best team in the NFC behind the Niners, Eagles, and it's the Cowboys. Lions kind of lost some luster with me, even though I'm glad my Packers beat them. I think the Lions ain't just ready yet. I just don't think they're ready to take that next step just yet.
Yeah,
but
they have
Cowboys
a good squad.
They do. I agree.
Yeah, but they're not. The Cowboys, I'm like you. They're not ready to go to the next level.
Not yet. But the Cowboys again. But we're gonna see. I've seen people talk about they haven't beat anybody, and to a certain degree, I understand what you're saying. But everybody plays whoever's on their schedule. They don't make the schedules. The NFL make the schedule. We already know they're gonna play their NFC East teams twice. We already know the Commanders and the Giants are trash. So those are going to be probably for you. Just never know with division rivals. That can go either way. It don't matter how good you are. But I mean, the thing is, you do play who you play, man. So they beat who they were supposed to beat. They took a bad loss to the Cardinals. But I mean, heck, the Eagles lost to the Jets. So that's going to be out. Sometimes it's a bad loss. It happens.
Right. So. And it's like what you said, man. You have to play who's on your schedule. And the truth of the matter is, all those guys getting checks. So everybody's coming out every Sunday. It doesn't matter what disposition you think your team is, you still getting a check, and you still have to take care of that business. But yeah, man, the Cowboys. I want to go and get that conversation out of the way. We talked about the Cowboys and the Cowboy fans not interested in them fans. And the killer is, man. Of course, with us growing up in East Texas, well, at least being from East Texas. I mean, it's almost like if you're born in East Texas, man, you got to be a Dallas Cowboys fan.
You got to be a Cowboys fan.
Right? And back in the 90s, I rocked with them. Of course,
I think most did. You're right. We all, I think we all did.
Yeah, I rocked with them, man, because I liked, I did work for Emmitt Smith when he was at Emmitt Smith Communications. So I had a chance to kind of be around Emmitt and Mike and those guys. And they were and they're all about our same age. So, back then it's like, okay, yeah, man, I can get down with them. But it's almost like now, since that era has passed, well, speaking of the Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson going into the Ring of Honor.
Long overdue. That should have been done years ago. Way overdue.
Yeah, man. I think that now what I see, the thing about, speaking of the Cowboys, the thing that gets me about the Cowboys, it's almost like when they start getting on those runs and they start getting some success, it's almost like they start believing their own hype. and then they go out and just stink up the joint.
Right. They stick up the joint. That exactly. And I think that's the thing that until Dak really wins a big game, he's going to always be looked at a good quarterback that is a good regular season quarterback, but
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't do anything in the playoffs. Kind of like
Yeah.
Tony Romo, his predecessor. Tony Romo, you think about him, great regular season quarterback, only won 2 playoff games.
Two
Never
playoff
did
games.
anything in the playoffs.
Man,
So that's kind of
that
that.
Seattle game,
Mm-hmm.
you
Right,
remember that?
right.
It was
Yeah,
almost like they just
when
started
he missed
tanking
it.
after that.
Yeah. So that's the thing. The Cowboys gonna have to they got to get to an NFC Championship game because they ain't been in 1995.
Yeah.
I mean we talking we
Ooh, I had hair on my head, no gray.
no great
Boy,
music. Yeah, so but there's some other teams though. In fairness, there's some other teams that ain't won no Super Bowls either since then too. So
yeah,
it ain't just the
yeah,
Cowboys, but that's the team. That's the team that gets thrown the most dark, and it's because of their fans. Really, it
right.
ain't because of the team.
Well,
So
it's the most expensive sports franchise in the world.
exactly. Yep.
I mean, out
Yep.
of
I
all
think
sports.
of all sports, I think their value I think it's $6 billion. I believe is what it's worth
Uh,
now,
yeah,
or
I
it may
think
be
it's either
more than
six.
that. I think it,
No, I think it's
I think it's
9 billion.
I think you're right. I think it's 9 billion. I
Yeah,
think
I
Jerry
think I
bought
heard
it
it
in
was
what?
9 billion.
I think you're right. I think in '89 he only paid.
Like a couple of 100 million.
Yeah, no, I don't even think it was 100 million. Tim,
Oh
I
yeah,
think it
that's
was
right.
like I think it was like maybe 70 or 80 million dollars,
Yeah.
something like that.
What we
Yeah,
know is Jerry Jones made that bread.
he made that bread. Yes, sir.
Boy, he made that bread. Before we leave Texas, man, CJ Stroud, man, Houston Texans.
I'm liking this young fella, man. I'm liking him, even though they didn't get it done yesterday. I'm liking this young fella. I think he's making the Texans forget about Deshaun Watson, and
Yeah,
because when you lose a franchise quarterback like that, normally your team is going to be in the dumps for a while. And Texans have been in the cellar for a minute, but
yeah.
to get this kid at number 2. A lot of people had ahead of him. Uh, I can see that, but now, man, this young fella is getting it done, and with a makeshift offensive line. That offensive
Right.
line down there in Houston isn't that great. Hopefully, they don't get the young fella killed, but he's doing his thing, and he should be one of the. He's in the race for MVP, in my opinion. He should
He
be.
is, man. Yeah, he is,
Yeah.
man. From the standpoint of,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you understand, uh, like you said, they took CJ, or they
Mm-hmm.
took Bryce Young over CJ,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
CJ's been balling out. But also, I think D'Amico has a lot to do with that, man.
I'm glad you mentioned him because I was going to say DeMeco Ryans has came in and changed that whole culture. I believe, within the organization. Because let's go and be honest, these Texans, that organization was making some dumb decisions. Cade
Man.
McNair and all them. And I don't think David Culley got a fair shake either. The brother that they hired,
No,
and he only
no, he
got one
didn't.
year. He didn't get a fair shake, and I hated that. He just came in behind all this Deshaun Watson, mess. But again, it looks like they're getting it back on the track, and they got the right guy for the job, DeMeco Ryans. I know the 49ers. I know y'all hated to lose him, but I'm
Uh-huh.
glad he got an opportunity to do his thing in Houston.
Yeah, man. We traded off Trey as well. We got
Just popped in and said the host has lost connection. I guess my Wi-Fi is doing something funky. I don't know what's
yeah.
up, but I'm back. Yeah, here
Yeah,
we go.
technology
We
is cool
good.
when it works. When it
You're right.
doesn't,
It
it's
really
horrible.
is.
Serious,
Right.
man.
Exactly.
Bryce Young,
Yeah.
man. Speaking of the number one draft pick, man. Frank Reich just got fired today. You see that?
Yeah. I did a little quick YouTube short on it. Yeah. He got fired. And, Bryce Young, man, he was drafted into not a very good situation. That's a team that has the number one pick for a reason. I always say that.
Right.
They need work. Frank Reich, he should have been hired in the first place. That's gonna be honest with you. He had got fired from Indianapolis after a 3-5 start. Then he gets hired in Carolina. Uh, uh, brothers don't get jobs like that in the NFL. Brothers when I'm surprised Todd Bowles got a second shot at Tampa Bay. I ain't trying to go down no rabbit hole, but I'm
No,
just
I got
saying,
you.
well, you feel me? It's
I
amazing to
feel
me
exactly
how
what you're saying.
the brothers don't get second shots like that. But
I'm thinking
this
about Eric
guy,
Bieniemy, with
yeah,
the way the Commanders are
yeah,
going. Rivera
he
needs
may
to go
be out
ahead and
of a
go.
job. Well,
Right.
they fired their defensive coordinator already. Jack Del Rio got fired on Friday after the Cowboys game, and their secondary's coach.
No.
And from what I'm reading, Josh Harris basically has Ron Rivera on. He's gonna make a determination at the end of the season. So I don't expect Ron Rivera to be back either. So where does that
Yeah,
leave
man.
Eric Bieniemy? You
Right.
know.
What do you think about that
Mm-hmm.
move he made from Kansas City to Washington?
Um, I think for his career, he did need to make that move. Because I think that if he would, sometimes you can be in one place for a while, and the opportunity, it's not gonna, it may not ever happen. Sometimes they throw you carrots. You know how you throw carrots? So, oh
Right.
yeah, we're gonna take everything. Just to keep you sticking around. And then during that time, your career is just stagnant. I think
Right.
he did need to make that move to Washington and to also Kansas City. I was an important part of this Super Bowl run. It wasn't just what I had some input on this. So
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of black coaches, man, in the league, do um you think Davis is gonna give AP a shot at Vegas?
I hope so. I
I do
hope they
too,
do.
man.
I hope
I like
I hope
Antonio
so.
Pierce, man.
I like him too. I don't know. I just if anybody would do it, I think Mark Davis would do it. But
Hmm.
I'm not so sure. I still think they're going to bring in some people to interview for that position. But I would love to see Antonio Pierce keep that just to see what he does. Give him a shot, man. That's all we want is a shot.
Yeah.
Another person we're not really talking about is, and I love him to death, but I think it might be his time to go. Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
Ooh,
I
I
think
knew
it
you
may
were gonna
be.
say that, man. Hallelujah.
I think it might, and it's not. I just think he's been there so long. Sometimes you can stay at a place for so long that your message is falling on deaf ears.
Yeah, man. I like
Your
Coach T
game.
though, man.
I like him too. I do
That
too. But
Coach T, boy. I mean,
yeah, he's bad. But Pittsburgh is an organization. They don't fire coaches. That's why
yeah,
he's
no,
been
they've
able to
only
stay
had
there
3.
so long. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's and
Mm-hmm.
he's been there 20 years.
16? I think he's been
Okay.
there 16th season, I believe. I think he's been there
Okay. I know
16
it's been
seasons.
almost
Yeah.
20.
Yeah. He's the longest tenure, I think, head coach behind Belichick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Now
him and
he's
then Belichick.
and he's never had a losing season.
Never had a losing season. Never finished under
Never,
500.
man.
Right.
Belichick, you brought him up,
Yeah.
man. We gonna keep the conversation going. Belichick, bruh. Mac
Eh,
Jones.
yeah, I don't know what is he doing. Just leave the kid. Hey, leave that dude on the bench. Why you keep putting him? Man, go with Zappy. Leave Zappy in there. He seems to make things happen. Mac Jones, it. I mean, name a Alabama quarterback that has been it in the NFL.
Man,
I'll wait.
it's right. Don't well, Jalen left and went to OU.
Well, he went to OU, so I don't really consider him. I consider
Yeah.
him more OU.
And then Tua, we still kind of waiting.
So we still kind of waiting.
Yeah, we still
Joe
kind of
Namath.
waiting. But
Joe Namath.
Joe
Joe
Namath.
Namath.
I'm trying to think of, yeah, like you said, Joe Wait. I'm trying to think of who else.
Yeah. That's
Alabama.
about it.
That's it.
Yeah, Alabama quarterbacks. That's about it, man.
Man,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So,
Well,
mm,
as far as the league's concerned, man, let's run these divisions, man. AFC North, man. Who
okay.
you got coming out the North?
Ooh, man, that's a tough one. Well, it's Baltimore.
Ooh-wee.
To
Oh yeah,
Baltimore to me is
Baltimore.
the best. They're the best team in the AFC. They're playing the best football in the AFC right now. To me, I think they're the best
Yeah,
team in the AFC. And that
yeah,
division is Baltimore. Obviously, Cincinnati and Cleveland both lost their starting quarterbacks.
yeah.
And it's Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett, and I mean, they 6-4, but Pittsburgh, I don't, I don't see them taking that division. I think it's
And
Baltimore's to lose.
they win so ugly.
Mm-hmm. They do, but hey, a
Pittsburgh
win
is
is a win. Like
ugly.
I told some, yeah, they do. They hadn't scored many points offensive. I
Right.
think this past game was the first game they've had over 400 yards of all total offense in like 15 games.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you that offensively they've been stinking it up, and they did fire their offensive coordinator in Canada. They fired him last week.
Yeah, Matt
So
Canada.
yeah, they fired him. So again, Baltimore is the cream of that division. I don't see them being threatened at this point.
Yeah. How about the AFC East?
The AFC East.
Yeah.
Well, Buffalo definitely has been a disappointment. I thought they was going to
Yeah.
be better than they are. They've lost. They've had some ugly losses.
I think it's gonna be
Miami.
probably Miami.
This Miami. I don't. I mean, Buffalo showed some.
Yeah, the
They
Jets
showed
ain't
some
doing nothing. The
moxie last
Patriots ain't
night.
doing nothing.
The Jets and Patriots. They just Patriots they playing for a first round top draft pick now at this
Yeah.
point, as well as the Jets. It's Miami. I mean, they got that firepower on offense. I mean, you talk
Yeah.
about Jalen Waddle and Cheetah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and Tyreek Hill, and Tua is he's shown to be he can play quick at this level, and then they got
Yeah.
that running back most start. Defensively, they play well. So man, it's Miami. Miami's gonna win that
Hey, you
division.
know where most of it came from?
Where did he come? Oh, San Francisco.
San
Sure did.
Francisco, man. He's
Yeah,
a
you're
San
right.
Francisco
I did.
treat.
Yeah, man. Here we go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you got Baltimore in the north, Miami in the east. Coming out the
Mm-hmm.
south, you think the Jags? Texans might give them something, but look like the Jags.
Yeah, Texas, if they won that game yesterday, I would have said the Texas probably could. This was going to be a shot for them to take that division. I think Jacksonville is going to hold them off. I think this is Jacksonville's division to lose. Tennessee, they not doing much. They put that kid Will Levis in, who's a pretty decent quarterback. They put
Yeah,
him in. And we know Indianapolis not going to do anything. They lost their starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson, weeks ago. So no, it's Jacksonville. They're gonna win
I
the
was looking
division.
forward to seeing Richardson play, man.
Yeah, me too. I was too as
Yeah,
well.
I
See
hate he
what he
got
could
hurt,
do.
man.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Mm-hmm.
So that AFC West,
Mm,
Kansas City,
mm,
Denver,
Raiders,
ooh,
Chargers. Well, I'm gonna tell
Raiders,
you something, man.
Chargers.
The Broncos then turned their season around, haven't they? I think they done won 5 in a
Hey,
row.
hey, Russ is good.
Yeah,
Hey, you know his wife. You know they expected.
yeah, I know. Boy, Russ keep getting that Sierra pregnant. Boy, he need to
Hey,
leave the
but you know what?
motherfucker anyway.
But think about it. Every time Sarah get pregnant, Russ go to the
uh,
playoffs.
well, maybe, okay, well then I guess that's what they need to keep doing.
Hey, man, I mean, 'cause look, these last 5 games, Russ been
Yeah,
balling like he
right.
about to be a new Purple.
Right. He has been balling. Uh,
Yeah,
uh, in Kansas City, it's not going to be a walk in the park for them to win this division. They've already lost to Denver once, even though they beat the Raiders They beat the Raiders yesterday.
right.
But I think the Chiefs are going to win this division. But I think the Broncos is probably going to make it interesting a little bit.
Hey, if them boys keep dropping them balls, Kansas
Right.
City,
Yeah. Right.
because see, if
Right.
you again, that's one of those things, kind of like what we were talking about with Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
If you run into the right team at the wrong time, all that's gonna cost you.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I agree.
All that's
I
gonna
think
cost
it's always the team that's playing hot, the team that's playing the best and that's hot. Those are teams you fear. I don't care what their regular season record shows. If they get hot at the right time, man, they can be a problem. And speaking of Kansas City, I got a East Texas football story to tell. I actually shot Patrick Mahomes last football game in high school when
Is that
we
right?
made it to the semifinals. Yes, when he was at
Yeah, I was
White
just
House.
about
I
to
shot
shout
his.
out East Texas with Patrick Mahomes since we were talking about it. So you said at White
Yeah,
House.
yeah. His last high school football game, the semifinals in Class 4A. They played it at Allen Stadium in Allen, Texas.
That's
I
a
shot his
massive
last high
stadium.
schoo football. Yeah, yeah. So that was the most expensive stadium in the state of Texas at that time. I
I
think it would
remember
cost
that.
$60 million. I think it was 40 or 60 million to be built.
Yeah.
But since then, it's been some built that cost way more than that. So,
And of course, we've lived across the country. And so whenever we go to these
mm.
other states and we see their little high school stadiums, and they're like, oh man, this is a
I
great
know
stadium.
you.
We're looking like, what?
You're like, what is this?
Like what
our
is this
middle
where
our middles
is this
play in
pop water?
stadiums like this.
Yeah,
That's funny. Yeah,
it is, man. Especially when I was living in Connecticut, man. When I went to the high
yeah.
school games up there, I was like, man, it's like Foster Middle School.
I bet you that was a shock to the system. You like, what kind of football is this?
My goodness.
Yeah.
Connecticut was a shock to the system. I can
Oh
promise
yeah,
you
I
that,
can
man.
imagine. I can
Yeah,
imagine.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
So what about
Uh,
let's run it, man. What about the NFC South?
NFC man, that's the trash division. That's the boy. That division is straight trash, fam.
I don't even
You
know.
know,
I mean, you got what?
that
You got the
trash.
Saints, the
Saints,
Bucks,
mm-hmm,
who
Falcons,
else?
and the Panthers. The Falcons and the Panthers. And right now, I think the leader of the division is. I think did the Saints win yesterday? I don't even remember who won or not. Played Atlanta yesterday, right? I don't know. I
Atlanta
think the
beat them.
Saints did. Oh, Atlanta
Atlanta
did
came
beat
back
them.
and beat them. Yeah, yeah. Atlanta
Okay,
came
so
back and beat them.
now Atlanta is 5-6, and New Orleans is 5-6. So
Hmm.
those two teams, I think, leading the division. Obviously, Carolina's not going anywhere. They 1-10, and
Nowhere.
Tampa Bay, I think, is I think Tampa Bay lost 2, so they 4-7. Man, I'm just picking this one by default. I think Atlanta's going to win that division.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they not going anywhere.
Yeah, they're the best of the trash in the can.
Right, exactly. Right, right.
you know.
Yeah,
Now that
yeah.
your division, man, that NFC North.
Mm, yeah, man. Got Detroit. We got. Matter of fact, who we got playing? We got Minnesota and I believe Chicago tonight. That's an NFC North
Hmm.
division game, and we got Detroit and Green Bay. Obviously, our Packers got the win on Thanksgiving. Went into Detroit that I didn't think we could pull it off, but
Yeah, I
Jordan
bet you
Love showed
excited.
me. Yeah, Jordan Love showed me that he's getting comfortable in offense. He showed me that he could get it done. But I
Yeah.
still think the Lions are the best team in NFC North. I think my Packers are going to slowly show. I don't think we'll win the division right now. We got to keep trying to get a wild card. Minnesota, they lost Kirk Cousins, so they playing with Dobbs, Joshua Dobbs, who beat the Cowboys when he was with Arizona. They traded for him. Now he's the guy with the Vikings.
Man,
So
speaking of Joshua
again,
Dobbs, he's a
mm-hmm.
rock. Like he really is like he was for to be
Yes,
a
engineer or something, right? Aeronautic engineer or something like that.
yeah, like a rocket scientist or something, man.
Yeah,
But what tripped me out,
yeah,
you saw the game a few weeks ago. He didn't even know his teammates' names. Had never taken a snap.
yeah. Right. That's the Vikings. They just traded for him. Yeah, because they had lost Kirk Cousins. Right, and they won the game. Yeah, yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
man, that's
man.
crazy, man.
Right. So the Vikings, they may make a play. They're at 6-5 right now, so they're 2 games behind Detroit. But again, I think the Lions are the best team in the division. I think they'll win it. At this point, I think the Packers and Minnesota will be trying to sneak in a wild card if
Mhm.
we could get in.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man. Minnesota, I really thought they were going to be make a little bit more noise than they have as
Mm-hmm.
well. But
Well, you know what happened when you lose your starting quarterback. That pretty much kills any team that
yeah,
loses their starting quarterback. Pretty much. I mean, even when you guys, Brock Purdy, when y'all lost him in the what was that was that the divisional
that was
game against
championship
Philly
game.
or championship game? When you
Yeah,
guys lost him, man, y'all didn't
because we
really
lost to
have any guy to
Philadelphia.
go to. Yeah,
No,
y'all didn't
we
have
had we had
anybody to go to.
Christian McCaffrey up under center.
Right. So, that people wonder why NFL quarterbacks get paid the money they do, starters, because that is the most important position on the team. If you ain't got no starting quarterback and if you lose them, look at the Jets. Perfect
Oh,
example. My guy Aaron Rodgers went down first week,
I
and
was
look
gonna
what has
ask you,
happened to the
man,
Jets since then.
because I hadn't talked to you since then, man. So, man, I don't know about you, man, but I was hurt when Aaron got hurt.
Mm, yeah, yeah, man.
When Aaron got hurt, man, I was like, oh man,
Yeah, you know what's funny? What I also thought this too, fam. I just thought about because I'll be honest with you, I was a little irked with Aaron Rodgers toward his last year or two in Green Bay because I got
of
sick
course,
of
being a Packer
the
fan,
soap
you
opera.
would,
Yeah, I got sick of the soap operas. Is he back? Is he retiring? Do we want to be here? At that point, I
yeah,
just felt like he was holding the organization hostage. He signed that
yeah,
big extension. So I was kind of like, cool, he's gone. Cool. I wish him well. I'll root for him wherever he goes. And then when that happened, I was like, man, you know what? Sometimes, sometimes the universe has a funny way of showing, of doing things.
boy,
You know.
he's going
So,
off and
but
he's what was he doing? Going to dark places or
mm,
something.
right, to clear his head and all that. I'm like,
Yeah,
man, come on, bro. Is that
he was
okay?
doing some
Enough
crazy
of this
stuff,
already. Enough of this. I was like, cool.
man.
So yeah, I hated to see that. And then, but that happens. Again, next
Yeah,
man up, as I say. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for you. If you lose a star player or whomever, you injuries, because we've seen quite a few of those. We've seen a lot of cats go out with Achilles injuries. That's been the choice. Achilles this season. A few years back, it was the hamstrings. So,
hmm
but that's part of football. So next man up, as they say.
yeah. So what about that East, man? Does Dallas have a shot at winning it?
Nah, they playing for a
I don't
wild
think so
card.
either.
I don't see Philly. I think Philly gonna lose another one or two games, but I don't see it just going off the rails. I
Man,
think
who you
that the
think Philly
Eagles
gonna
will
lose to?
catch a
Well,
hard time.
I think we'll get them,
I
but who else?
I
I
think
don't know if they're gonna
I
lose
think
any
they're
of them.
gonna I think they're gonna lose. Yeah, I think to the Cowboys. I think they're gonna lose two in a row starting Sunday. I think they're gonna lose to y'all and they lose to the Cowboys. I do.
They play the Cowboys in Dallas, right? They play them in Dallas,
Yeah, they
right?
Cowboys on Sunday. Yeah, in Dallas on Sunday night, December 10th.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's gonna be
Mm,
yeah, that's
that's
gonna
gonna
be
be these next 2 weeks. Like you said earlier, fam. These next 2 weeks is gonna sell. We're gonna really see what the Eagles are made of these next two
yeah,
weeks.
yeah. They're gonna find out
Hmm
for sure, man. And then of
Right,
course,
right.
man, shoot, we got out there in the West, man. I thought Seattle had been a little concerned.
Yeah.
I
See,
was a little concerned with Seattle.
yeah. I don't think you have no reason to be concerned now. I think Seattle's a good team. I just think they not on the caliber of the 49ers. I think this
Yeah,
West is you guys gonna run away with this division. Even when you guys was going on that 3 game losing streak, I said, man, they gonna get it together. They gonna be all right. They gonna win the West. I mean, Arizona is in kind of disarray at this point. Even though they got Kyler Murray back. The Rams are in disarray. They got to try to
yeah.
figure out. They ain't got no money to spend because they spent all their money on Stafford and all that. So,
And Aaron Donald.
see, and Aaron Donald, yeah. And so, San Fran, definitely, you guys gonna win this division going away. But I think the Eagles gonna have home field advantage through the NFC again. So it's gonna go through Lincoln Financial Field or whatever it's called.
Yeah, speaking of excuse me, speaking of home field, man, that's one of the things we were talking about Kansas City a minute ago. This may be the first time Patrick has to go and has to go out and
Mm-hmm.
play a playoff
And
away from Arrowhead.
yeah, far as the AFC Championship game, it's looking that way right now. I mean, Baltimore Ravens, it's going to be between, as far as that one seed, where I was reading today, it's going to be between the Miami, Baltimore, and Kansas City, one seed.
Yeah.
So it's going to be going up and down. I don't have their schedules, in front of me to see who I think has the easiest schedule. But I think. I think them Dolphins and Ravens. I think the Ravens gonna probably eventually clinch that number one seed in the AFC. I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I think if they have to go down to South Beach, it's gonna be a problem.
Right? You think it's gonna be a problem?
Ooh. If they have to play it, first of all, the heat in the wintertime,
uh
and then just going down there, man. Miami's a different team at home.
Yeah, they are a different team at home. I agree. Now, didn't Kansas City just go to Miami a couple of weeks ago? I believe they
Yeah,
did. They won that game. I believe. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you
Okay.
start getting
But
into that playoff thing, man,
it's a whole different game. Then you're right.
a whole different game,
So
man.
yeah. So we getting down to the nitty gritty, as they say in this NFL season. See what happens for
So,
sure.
before we close out this NFL, man, I got to get your pick, man. Who you got going to the bowl?
Uh Out of the AFC, I would. If you would have asked me this 3 weeks ago, I would have said Kansas City. I think out of the AFC, I think I'm going with the Ravens.
Hmm.
And in the NFC, I think I'm gonna go with the. I think it's gonna be a Ravens Niners Super Bowl.
I'm hoping to see that rematch so we can get our revenge
from the,
for
the
them
the
turning
the
the lights off.
Superdome, turning the
Yeah,
lights off.
I'm
Yeah,
still mad about that, man. That's
yeah, yeah.
2017, man. Colin Kaepernick, Doc,
Yes, man.
I wasn't happy
Yeah,
about that.
yeah. I know you
You
wasn't. We
know,
had the two brothers coaching against each other at that
yeah,
time, Jim
man.
Harbaugh and John Harbaugh. And I'm not saying that to all the viewers. I'm not saying that just because my cousin is a 49er fan, which
Right on.
I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you
You know the
my
sports, bruh.
I'll give you my opinion. I think it's gonna
You,
be Niners Ravens Super Bowl
you
in
know
Vegas,
sports.
by the way.
That's why I
Yeah,
got you on here. You know sports.
yeah,
Speaking of
yeah.
Harbaugh, man, we got a couple of minutes, man. We're gonna wrap it up. Speaking of Harbaugh, man,
Mm,
the Michigan thing, man. Well, I'm gonna ask you about two things. We'll shoot over to college
mm,
right quick. Harbaugh, what
mm,
do you think about that whole punishment of him and that
mm,
whole sign stealing situation? And
mm.
then we'll close out on Prime and Colorado.
Okay. Far as Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, what's funny, fam? I didn't even know there was a such thing as sign stealing in football. Didn't know that. So when this story
Right,
first broke, I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. So I got to read. I'm like, okay, this guy, whomever this style, whatever this dude was a little bit
right,
fanatical. That's why they call fans fanatics.
right.
As far as Harbaugh, um, until I see more evidence or more evidence, because the NCAA is still looking into it. Uh, until I see that, I don't. I'm not gonna say he's guilty of any of that. But I will say that he probably knew a little bit something about it. You know.
Hmm.
Um, did you? So and Michigan got the win over Ohio State, and
Yeah,
they've won since he's been gone. So obviously, it's not really hurt the team. Do I think Harbaugh deserve any punishment? I think the Big Ten has punished him enough. I don't really think he was involved in that, and
I think
we'll
so
see
too.
what happens. We'll see what happens going forward with that Wolverines, because they look like they're gonna end up in that Final Four in college football.
I was gonna ask you who's your Final Four?
My Final Four right now, and I was looking over this because we still got those championship games to play next week. So that'll definitely be have some sort of bearing on this. But right now, I have Georgia at 1, Ohio State at 2, Michigan at 3, and Washington at 4. And and that's what I'm going with. I think those teams handle their business. That's who it's going to be. And those are 4 I pick. I think Florida State and Texas could sneak in there, but they'll need some
Yeah.
help. Those
Yeah,
are
they
2
need some
teams I
help.
think could sneak in. They need some
Yeah.
help though.
Texas
Mm-hmm.
wore Texas Tech out though, boy.
They wore them out. That was ugly.
They wore them out the other night, man. I was like, golly, man, they killing
That
these
was
cats,
ugly.
man. Yeah, it was it
That was the
was it was
last.
not pretty.
Yeah, that was ugly. That was their last game in the Big 12 too, by the way,
Yeah.
versus Texas Tech. So there you have it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I can't wait for these college football playoffs. Next season it will go to a 12-team playoff. So
Yeah. Oh, is that
I would have
right?
rather. Yeah, next season it'll be 12. I would have rather saw 8. I thought 12 was a little bit too many, but I'm
Yeah.
cool with that. So next season it'll be
Yeah.
12. So we'll see what happens.
Well, man, what you we got a couple of minutes, man. What you think about CU, man? Next year, well, this year, let's review this year right
Mm-hmm.
quick. And what's your
Mm-hmm.
preview from next year for next year?
Well, Coach Prime winning, 4-8. Let's be honest, that's not a great
Right.
record. But considering what he came into,
Right.
only 1 game previous season, they did with winning 3 in a row, and I think the hype of that got a lot of people expecting this role to continue. In my mind, I was like, Coach Prime's gonna at least win 4. I say he win 5 games. That's at least make a bowl, maybe. And then they hit that slump and they lost. They lost 6 in a row. I said that this season for Colorado was still a success, considering all the transfers he in. A lot of this decided to transfer out. That's understandable. Change culture, bringing in a whole new mindset, bringing in your people. Listen. It takes time, as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. I think Coach Prime is something there. I hope he continues to build something there. I also know that at the end of the day, once he get this thing rolling, it's gonna be some other places calling. So watch out
Yeah.
for that too.
Yeah, man. I believe so, man. Of course, Shador and Shiloh will probably play one more year. They got
Mm-hmm.
Travis. He'll be eligible to come out after next year as well, which is what kind of why I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking that Prime may be. I thought A&M was gonna do something, man, about trying to
Yeah,
make
they
a
hired
move
that.
for Prime.
Yeah, they probably reached out to him, but they did. But you hired the guy from Duke. They hired their defensive coordinator under Jimbo Fisher at A&M. They decided to go to Duke. They hired him as their next head coach. That went down on this morning. Mike Elko is the new A&M head coach.
The guy from Duke, and he's originally from A&M, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Fisher's defensive coordinator from 2018 to 2020. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, listen, man, I sure appreciate the time you spent with me, man. We got to do it again, man, soon. But before we go, man.
Anytime you need me.
All right,
Anytime
man.
you need me, fam.
I know you made a great sacrifice to be with me tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And but before we go, man, tell us all where we can catch you, when we can catch you, what platforms you're on. And I want to encourage everybody to go and follow you at.
Okay. Yes, you can catch me on Kendrick Sports Hustle on YouTube. That's SPORTZ HUSTLE. Make sure you go to my channel, like it. You can also catch me on TFG Sports Media on YouTube. You can follow me on Kendrick Sports Hustle on Facebook, again, SPORTZ HUSTLE. You can catch me at TFG Sports Media on Facebook. You can follow me on my Facebook profile, Kendrick Roline Henderson. You can follow me on TikTok, Kendrick Henderson 51. I am 1,000 subscribers there, so I will be going live on TikTok sometime. You also can catch me on Instagram at KDrick1969. You can follow me. I'm posting latest and sports breaking news, live streams, anything featuring. You can come catch it on any of those social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you. Appreciate it.
As y'all can tell, the dude is absolutely a professional. He knows how to tell you how to follow him everywhere. So make sure you go and follow him on all those platforms in which he just told you. And I certainly wanted to let you know that he has an incredible Sports Hustle show. And I'm telling you right now, for the latest information, news you can use when it comes to sports and sports entertainment, you want to make sure you check out Kendrick Sports Hustle. That's SPORTZ. Hey, listen, thanks everybody for joining us tonight for the Temple Talk podcast. Every Monday night, we want you to join us right here in the Temple, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And make sure you subscribe and click the bell so that you can get notifications on when we'll be back. We'll be right back at you. Same bat time, same bat channel. Next Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Until then, everybody have a fantastic and phenomenal Monday. And we bid you greetings. Happy holidays and everything else in between. Keep the sports coming, and we'll holler at you later. Peace.